Mr. Beast's
I don't know.
tranny co-host.
Listen, I, okay. Let's preface this.
This
I
is
don't know.
this
Okay, so
the
I pre-prefacing us
well,
because
this article is somewhat misleading because it's dividing because there's a lot of people who are like, "Whoa,
this is the thing about Chris, right? Like, I'm not.
is it
I'm actually.
Christina yet?
What's that?
Is it
Yeah, I
Christina
know.
yet?
I'm actually a fan of him. I like him. I think he's funny.
I like him when he's a man."
I've always like. Now he's just. Now it's weird. I mean, now it's like a thing that's like, how do you react to it? Um, we talked about this before. I don't know how to take this because he's
The
saying
issue
that
is he's not like transgender. He's
that's
like, "I'm non-binary, but I'm
well, this
taking
is what I'm
hormone
saying. But why are
therapy."
you taking hormone
Is it
therapy?
a fetish thing?
I'm thinking maybe something like that.
Like, can we be open about that? Like, can as a society, can we just say, okay, cut the nonsense? Like, if you're doing this for a sexual through, can you just like tell us so that we know? Like, I don't really give a fuck if you're doing it for that.
Like that's the thing. I don't understand why people conflate the idea of somebody saying this is weird, whatever, with being against it. I'm not against it. I
Yeah,
do whatever the fuck you want to do. I just honestly
the
think
idea
this
that it's
isn't good
normal or
for
whatever.
Mr. Beast's
I
channel.
think that is important. That's a good idea that I just had. Like, I think that there's a lot of people that are like that do this stuff out of fetish or like
Oh yeah, yeah.
sexual thrill.
No, I think you
And
nailed
I
it.
think that if we just like we're like let's just be open about who's doing it for that so that we know what's going on. Because that's confusing people. I think is this not really knowing that that's thinking that like I don't know the case of this Chris thing, but it could very easily be that.
I just think
Um,
this is kind of it's so weird because you're taking a guy who is a big part of the brand, Mr. Beast, because he's like basically he's like a founding member.
yeah. Oh, you did it from the beginning.
Like
Weren't
yeah,
they like high school friends?
I think so. But
Yeah.
like I've watched back as far. I think I started watching Mr. Beast like 4 years ago or something, right? And as far back as I started watching, like when I initially started watching, he was on, right? He was always there. So according to me, and I mean anybody as far as like when Mr. Beast started to blow up, he's a founding member. So you got this guy who's a founding member as a certain in a certain way, and now he's suddenly changed it, and we're all supposed to just go, oh, that's no, okay. I just think it changes the dynamic. It's no different than if you had so you and I we do a podcast and people like the podcast, and then suddenly Tyler's now Tylerette.
I could still be Tyler. Tyler is a
Oh, that's
girl's
true.
name
It is a
also.
girl's name. Yeah, we know that. We know what Tyler is a girl.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now you're Tyler with and you're now a woman.
She was kind of cute. She should come around more often.
You should be careful.
Oh,
You're gonna get in trouble.
I'm allowed to say those things.
All right, that's true. You probably are. But yeah, it's. And again, I'm not against it. I really don't care if the videos are good. I like Mr. Beast. I like what he does. I love the philanthropy. I like the guy. Like Jamie Donaldson's
I
awesome.
almost feel
He's
like
really
he's
cool.
almost tapped it out.
He's what?
Almost tapped it out.
Oh, maybe.
Like he hit a winning formula, and now it's. I mean,
Yeah.
it still does well.
Well, with the videos and stuff, but he's so smart that he's built all these other
Oh well,
brands.
yeah.
Like his
Like
brand is massive now.
in terms of
He got a
like
Mr. Beast burger
I
in
mean just in
fucking
terms
here
of
in no
what
time.
exploded him, I think he tapped it out. I don't know that he's gonna have be able to replicate the kind of success he's had in the past doing all these challenges and giving away
Oh
all this
no,
money.
there's no way. I mean, you've
But he built he's worth
I don't
he's
know.
a billionaire.
He's oh yeah, his well he was offered $1 billion.
Yeah, yeah, but
Yeah,
he's
he turned
worth
it
more
down.
than that.
Oh yeah, I think so too. And it's just the if you were
I
to
think
take
that was just for his YouTube channel.
if you were to
I think
take
he could keep Beast
no
Burger
no
and
that
stuff like
was
that.
for his whole brand.
Oh, okay.
But if you were to take his brand and then times it by an X factor of like a 5 to 7 factor, yeah, he's worth 5 to 7 billion realistically. If he was offered $1 billion, and
Well,
it's
you have
gonna
to.
keep
Well,
growing.
you know, a fair valuation would be how much um revenue does he bring in? Um, and times that by 100.
Well, they don't typically that's a bit of a high,
But
depending on who's buying or
yeah, but I
whatever.
think that's fair. I think
But
that's fair to value his personal worth,
even if you
especially
did a
since he's not looking to
20x,
sell.
even if you did 20x, I mean,
But
still,
I'm thinking just like a fucking tech stock PE ratio, just
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
100x,
But
100x it.
do you think this whole thing with Chris Tyson is good for it? good for the brand.
No, I think it hurts the brand.
I think it hurts the brand too because I think you're adding in where there wasn't politics. You're adding politics
Now
in,
there's politics, yeah. And now there's like extreme politics.
and it's
This
like
is extreme politics
it's
because
uncomfortable
it's yeah.
for everybody because like so even Jimmy Donaldson's got to feel uncomfortable with this. And I'm not gonna say what he feels or doesn't. I know he said something on Twitter that he
Well, he
was like
supports him,
he supports him, and of course he
at
does
least
because Jimmy
publicly.
Donaldson seems like the kind of guy that would support any
His
of his
friend doing
friends.
whatever.
Yeah,
Doing
like
whatever.
he seems like a pretty legit guy altogether. But
Yeah.
you can't say that he's not uncomfortable, and this hasn't created a bit of a weird thing. Like this
No.
could change the dynamic. These videos are organic. They're especially their earlier videos. There's a it's a fun feel to it. You watch these guys screwing around, and it's like this is fun. This is cool to watch. That's why he grew. That's why he's so big. I mean, now it's like I don't think he needs to spend the kind of money he spends on these videos necessarily to get the kind of views that he gets. Like I think he's somewhat like okay, for example, the one video I told you I didn't like that assassin video. It was one of the worst videos I've seen of a Mr. Beast video. I
Yeah.
just didn't like it. That's just my own feel. It, I mean, it's over 100 million views or whatever on it. But I think he gets 100 million views just because of his name.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
So
And YouTube pushes
and I
it.
bet you he spent on that video. I bet you he spent millions on that video because he blew up like I don't know, he blew up a building and like he did some crazy fucking shit in that
Yeah, his
video.
budgets are big.
Um, so but I worry that this whole shit is going to distract from that dynamic that he's created in his videos. Already, I didn't like Carl, and I don't particularly like Carl. Uh,
Carl,
whatever.
though, is successful in and of himself. He's got like
Sure,
millions of subscribers on
sure.
YouTube on his own
That's
personal
just my
channel.
own personal feel. I just don't particularly like the guy. Like, it's not that I don't like him. I don't know. I just find him weird.
I don't like effeminate men. There's it's a thing for me.
Yeah.
I find it. I like them less.
Well,
They could be my
okay.
friends,
I can understand that, but for me, it's more
but
just genuine. If you're genuine, if you there's an infectiousness of someone who's
that's what
genuine.
I'm getting at with an effeminate men. Like women are like they fucking wear their masks,
Yeah.
right? And an effeminate man is kind of projecting that as well. It's
Well,
kind of where it comes in, where it's like,
it depends on what you mean by effeminate. If you mean like somebody who's acting, they're acting phony, effeminate. Okay, that
well,
bothers me.
it's a lot of things, but that's one of them. Or like this thing where like you're gonna a man like this isn't extremely effeminate, but it is an effeminate feature of a man if your friend comes to you and asks you like a question is like I don't know do I look stupid right now, and you'll lie to them, you know, if they look stupid but you'll say no because you don't want to hurt their feelings. There's a certain kind of man that'll do that
That's also just
100% of the
being
time.
polite too.
Yeah, but
Like
I
I've
think
done
that's
it.
effeminate.
I've done it. So
What,
you're
really?
calling me effeminate?
If you came to me wearing some hat, you said, "Do I look stupid in this hat?" and I thought you looked stupid in that hat, I would tell you, "I think you look stupid
No,
in that
that's
hat."
just that's a different thing. That's just being direct. Now,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though.
but
The
if you
effeminate is to be indirect as to not offend.
necessarily, no, I
I
think you're
think so.
conflating two a little bit. Like if you're if my sole purpose to not tell you the truth is because I think it's going to hurt your feelings, well then that might be a little bit more effeminate. Now, if I know if you ask me something, you asked me my opinion on something and I was like, well, you know what? I it's not a this is something where I could just be polite and say whatever, it's not a big deal. And I say that just to be polite. I don't think that's effeminate. You know what I mean? I think you're kind of conflating two different things necessarily there, but I know what you mean about effeminate people. I know what you're getting at there. For me, though, it's more about just phony. Like if you're an effeminate person, effeminate man, but you're genuine, okay, that's fine. But it's just this screams disingenuous to me.
Yeah, this whole thing screams about
It's just because, like, if he said, "I feel like I'm a woman trapped in a man's body," I'd be like, "Oh, well, that's
that's
okay. Then
different. This is not that.
this is what you're gonna do to try to get out of that trap." If you
Yeah.
will. But this is just like you said. I think this is a perversion,
Yeah.
and I think that's what might have a detriment
And not that that's
against his
wrong.
channel.
I feel like when you say it's a perversion, it almost implies that it's wrong.
I think so, but I think it's selfish when you're now affecting a brand
Well, yeah.
that you're a part of. and this is affecting a ton of people.
Yeah.
And good on Jimmy Donaldson for being so accepting of it, maybe to his detriment, unfortunately. I hope not, because I really like the channel, and I like what he does. I like it. It's just I feel it's got a bit of a change to it now. I hope. Yeah. Disappear and come back.